Made on Zencaster.
Because Zencaster makes every stage of the podcast production and distribution processes so easy. Hello and welcome to Fit for My Age, the health and wellbeing podcast from Abeceda. I am Michael Millward. Today I am learning about how we might just be able to survive those crises that life throws at us. From Vicky Jones, who is the founder of the Our Lives app and host of the Our Lives podcast. Over a 25-year career, Vicky has risen from the bottom to the top in her social care career, becoming a director of social care services. The Our Lives app has its roots in the experiences she had of living through the death of her father when he was just 44 years of age. Vicky is based in North Wales, where the mountains are. I have been and I would go again. When I do, I will make use of my membership of the Ultimate Travel Club to arrange my travel. Because as a member of the Ultimate Travel Club, I get to travel at trade prices on flights, hotels, trains, holidays, and so many more travel-related purchases. You will find a link with a built-in membership discount in the description so that you can also be a member of the Ultimate Travel Club and, just like me, travel at trade prices. Now that I have paid some bills, it is time to make an episode of Fit for My Age that will be well worth listening to, liking, downloading and subscribing to. One that will also be worth telling your friends, family and work colleagues about as well. Very importantly, on Fit for My Age, we do not tell you what to think, but we do hope to make you think. Now, hello Vicky.
Hello Michael, thank you for having me.
I am looking forward to finding out how the Our Lives app works. Before we do that, can we just expand a little bit more on your career and how you came to be doing what you do now?
So, as you mentioned in my wonderful introduction, I lost my dad when he was 44 years old. I left school with no GCSEs. I didn't really have an awful lot of direction. But after my dad's passing, it led me into a career in social care. And now I started off as a frontline worker. And somehow it was never enough because I could work with people and it was great, but I wanted to make more of a change, which meant climbing the ladder, which is no mean feat when you don't have any formal qualifications, but somehow just through pure relentlessness, perhaps is how some people would describe it, I've worked my way up.
You sound like one of those people who's not prepared to accept no as an answer.
Absolutely not. I don't hear the no, and I'm not sure it always makes me very popular, but nevertheless, it's got me where I need to be to affect change. And I think for every yes I've ever had, there is 100 no's that people don't see behind the scenes. And I'm okay with that.
Yes.
So what I have seen over my career is a pattern of people coming into services who are all busting at the seams, who haven't got enough people to manage the services and deliver appropriate services to people. The majority of people coming into those services for support, had they been prepared and educated previously, they wouldn't need to come into services, or at very least, when they do come in, they would be so much more prepared for what inevitably lies ahead for most of us, particularly those of us in middle age and beyond.
If I understand you correctly, when people are coming to social care services looking for help, it would be easier to help them if they had been educated beforehand. If they had more information, they could avoid some of the issues, challenges, problems that are involved with having an illness yourself, dealing with someone else, bereavement, childcare issues, all of those sorts of things. If people knew more, they would almost be more intelligent clients of yours and know what it is that they are looking for.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So there's sort of three key elements here. So the first one is organisation, helping people to get organised before they need it. And it's a really tough ask of people. And when I say organised, we're talking paperwork, things in place, the general running of your own household. So the here and now.
Mm-hmm.
The second part is education. So it's understanding that 1 in 3 of us will become a carer in our lifetime.
Wow.
Some of us will become carers for multiple people, or some of us will become carers multiple times over, or we will need to receive care ourselves. The elements of that is that it's very emotional,
Yes.
becoming a carer. It's emotionally challenging. It's physically challenging. It's legally challenging. And it's challenging in terms of time as well. Conversations that happen amongst family members. I mean, those of us who are lucky enough to have family members to help us care, when those conversations are being had, when everybody is well, we understand what people's wishes are, we understand what other people are able to give in terms of supporting us. That makes such a difference when the time comes. Because if those conversations with other family members, or indeed your parents, if that's who you're caring for, haven't taken place, when the time comes, it's more difficult to have those conversations because of the emotional element, and also your time poor because you're holding down a job, you're caring for somebody. That takes up an awful lot of people's time.
Yes. This is one of those things that as an HR professional, people said, why do we need all these policies and procedures? And I said, well, the policies and procedures are what we use in order to decide before the event happens what we will do if this particular event happens, so that we can think it through logically, carefully, look at all the various different issues that we might have to address, rather than having to deal with it in the heat of the moment when everyone might be confused, annoyed, emotional, for want of a better word. We need to think about how we employ people before we actually employ them, and all the different issues. And you're saying that when we're in a care situation, or before we're in the care situation, we need to be thinking about our lives as a whole in terms of, well, if this happens to me, hope it won't, but if it does, this is what I would like to have happen. If this other thing happens, this is what I would like to have happen, and almost putting that down on a piece of paper.
That's exactly it. That's such a great analogy. It's the preparation. I cannot emphasize enough how much of an impact that will have later down the line. Things like legal documents. Now, I think I'm going to bore you with a couple of quick statistics. Is 78% of people in the UK don't have a lasting power of attorney in place. It's really challenging and difficult and quite unpleasant sometimes to think of our future selves when we're perhaps not in great health, or our parents, or whoever else it is we may be looking after. But the challenges that arise when somebody doesn't have a lasting power of attorney in place are huge, and they're costly, and they cost time, they cost us money, and perhaps most importantly, they cost us emotionally when we don't have those in place. For example, I was talking to a lady who works in the bank the other day, and she said the number of people we get in, children of elderly people who come into the bank and then start yelling at the staff quite inappropriately because they can't let them access their bank accounts, for very good reason, because it's safeguarding. You can't just let other people access their accounts. And they say, but that's my mum and dad. It doesn't matter. You haven't got lasting power of attorney in place. So what that means is we're already in a heightened emotional state. We're frustrated, we're angry, because we still need to pay the bills regardless. The electric will be cut off, vet's bills won't be paid, whatever it is. Life still continues to happen. So then you have to apply to the Court of Protection, which costs money, it takes time, it's emotionally draining. So by doing something now that may feel kind of abstract, as having the lasting power of attorney in place, really will later down the line solve a lot of problems. And absolutely the same goes for a lasting power of attorney for care and health. And those conversations and having that down legally now will save time, energy, and indeed money much later down the line.
Yes.
And that's why we're so enthusiastic and passionate about really helping people to understand it's not a case of if this will happen, it's very much a case of when this will happen.
Yes.
And being prepared is really the key to all of this.
Yeah, I completely get what you mean. And I'm thinking that one of the things that should happen on your 18th birthday, you're now an adult, legally an adult. Perhaps we should all be encouraging everyone is to actually sit down and think, what do I want to have to happen if I cannot do it for myself? If I'm in a car accident and injured in a way that means I'm in a coma, what do I want to have happen during that period of time? And it sounds like we're all indestructible, aren't we, at that sort of age?
We are.
It doesn't happen to people like me, it happens to that person over there. But the reality is that it could happen to you, and it might happen to you. And as we get older, our views on what we need to have happen will change. I can imagine being the person in the bank who can't access the money that's going to pay the electricity bill for their parents in their home. Not an anger at the bank staff themselves, but the frustration at the situation. It's something that could have been avoided if they organised these power of attorney, which we have wills, last will and testament, which decide and describe what you want to have happen after you've died. Yeah, we need to do the same sort of thing for what happens if we can't look after ourselves whilst we are alive.
Absolutely. Arguably, a lasting power of attorney is far more important than a will, because with the greatest of respect, when your will will be useful, you'll already be gone.
Yes, yeah.
So the lasting power of attorney is absolutely essential.
I'm writing it on my to-do list now.
It needs to be on your to-do list, and we at Our Lives, we're happy to support you through that process. When we talk about the legal side of it, that's one aspect, but we've also, what we don't sort of consider is our household and our day-to-day living, which is something else that we're really keen on reminding people about. And it's like you said at the beginning of the podcast, is we don't tell you what to think, but we'd like to make you think. And I love that, because everybody's lives look so different, and everybody's lives are sort of rich tapestries of their possessions and their relationships and their pets and their jobs, all these different, this big mix of things that make us all the individuals that we are. What we cover in our lives, some of the things may seem fairly frivolous. We talk people through the Swedish death cleaning process.
Through the what process?
The Swedish death cleaning process. It's a wonderful book. Ooh. But they talk about, as you're aging, you start cleaning out. What we hear a lot, particularly when somebody has passed away, or somebody's gone into residential care, or has carers coming into the property, is the number of possessions that we all accumulate over the years. Now, the harsh reality is nobody will love your knickknacks in the way that you love them. And I am a collector of knickknacks myself, and I'm sure my children detest some of the things that I collect. But that's the reality. But what we hear from people who've had to do house clearances afterwards is the feelings of guilt, the feelings that come with having to get rid of a loved one's possessions.
Each one has a memory.
Absolutely. So Swedish death cleaning, the process takes you through is give things away while you're alive. Talk to people about the story behind them. Some things are just that. They are just junk, and they can go. There's no emotional attachment to them whatsoever. And you make notes and say, once I'm gone, this can go to the charity shop. This can go for the recycling. And it's almost a way of having a clear out without being really brutal, and also not leaving it to somebody else. Because the one thing we do here is I had to clean out my parents' possessions, and I don't ever want my children to go through the same. Mm-hmm. We don't know what we don't know. We see people who come through, particularly in sort of social care services or health services, they do something, they take action at the point of crisis. So what we're trying to achieve, and what I love trying to make people think about, although it's not an easy ask, is try to imagine what it would be, what your life could be like in 10 years, 20 years. And it's really difficult to do that, but that's what we want to make people think about. That's our aim. Things like looking at your house that you live in at the moment. Is this house still going to be suitable for me in 10 years' time? Are there trip hazards? Are there things that I can do? There's a really good example, and one of my most popular videos is where I explain that painting the handrails in your house a contrasting colour to the walls will significantly reduce your risk of falls.
It's a simple little thing.
Really simple. Really, really simple. Contrasting colours can make the difference between a hospital admission or not. What we don't do is talk to people about things that they have no control over and they can't change. Everything we do is anchored in things that you have the ability to do something about. So it's not hopeless, it's not overwhelming, it's not really challenging. It's really simple things that we've only gained from years and years of experience of working in this field. and seeing the best outcomes for people always happen by making small changes to improve their future.
That is the thing that I think is really important. If you are thinking about your life in 10 or 20 years' time, especially someone in their 30s or 40s is thinking about their ambitions and where their career is going to be. As you get older, you become a little bit more aware of your own mortality. It's the simple little things that you don't necessarily think about because you haven't got the knowledge or the experience, and you don't want to learn through experience when there is the easy option of, you could do this and it will reduce the risk of falls. And people say, oh, you fell over, but falling has a major impact on someone's health.
It really does.
It's like the trigger point or the entry point into this journey. And you can be fine one day, slip, fall, and then all sorts of other problems come as a result of that. We don't take tripping and falling seriously enough, I think. Yeah, I like the idea of painting things a different colour. It's about making life simpler, isn't it?
Really simple thing to do. And also, in middle age, women have a significant spike in the number of falls that they have due to hormonal differences, eyesight changes, and so on and so forth. And the outcomes for women who are admitted to hospital after a fall are poor at best. It's like you said, it's the gateway into poorer health. So this is why we created the life audit, because I think, as we've alluded to a number of times during this conversation, it's really difficult for people to imagine their life in 10 or 20 years outside of our ambitions for our life. I'm sure we'd all like to be sitting on a beach somewhere, watching a lovely sunset, but the reality is most of us won't be. One of the challenges with our lives is, how do we get this message across to people without frightening them? Because that's not what we want to do. So we created the life audit, which is a questionnaire. It's on the website. And you fill in a number of questions about your life. And what we can tell you from that is your dementia risk, how likely you are to get dementia, because 45% of dementia cases are preventable, which again isn't necessarily common knowledge.
No, it's not. I think that's also something that is very important as well, that people know that a lot of the problems that they see their older relatives, older friends experiencing can actually be prevented by making decisions now. A bit like why we started Fit for My Age was like the doctor says to you, well, it's your age, of course. And then he looks at you and goes, it's our age. And you realise that when you hit your 40s, you're paying the price for what you did at your 20s.
Absolutely. My son listens to his music at a ridiculously high volume, as I did at that age. And I remind him that it will damage his hearing. But he doesn't care because he's a young man. He doesn't want to think about a time when he'll make a funny noise every time he gets off the sofa and he sneezes too loud. He's not thinking about that, and why should he? He's young. But there you go. And I'd be a hypocrite if it is.
We live in a world where things are marketed to us as if we are indestructible and like, yeah, let's do it. Whereas not listening to your music quite so loud doesn't actually reduce the enjoyment that you have in the music, but you will think in 20 years' time, I wish I hadn't had it so loud. But it happens to other people. It doesn't happen to us.
It does. You're absolutely right. Hindsight is 2020. It always has been, and it always will be, to be fair to. And we're not here to stop people from having fun. We can't stop, and nor should we try to stop things from happening in the future. But what we can do is reduce the risk of things happening, and also, in tandem with that, is make people more prepared to withstand the storms that are coming. So we can build that sort of shelter in advance, if you like. A few of the other things on the life audit is we can tell you what your likelihood is of becoming a carer. We've built a wonderful algorithm in the background. I do love a bit of data, very, very data informed. How likely you are to become a carer, and also what your carer experience will be like. So if we know that your parents don't have paperwork in place and they live on the top of a high rise with no lifts, and you have no siblings living locally to help out, or you have strained relationship with your siblings, your carer experience is going to be worse than if you have 5 siblings living close by, all of whom have committed to sharing the burden of care. And again, they're things that you can change now that will benefit you later down the line. For me, this is a bit of an insurance policy. like a whole life insurance.
I do not disagree with you in terms of the use of the word insurance, because before we get our car insurance, we first of all have to get our driving license.
Yes.
And in order to get our driving license, we have to learn how to drive, pass a test, and then we're eligible to buy a car, drive a car, and get car insurance because it's a legal requirement. We started off by talking about how people end up in situations because they're not prepared, or they leave behind a situation or create a situation for someone else because they haven't thought things through themselves as to what might happen to them in the future. And so if you are either going to be the person that someone else has to care for, or you're going to be the person providing that care, knowing in advance and being able to prepare yourself, knowing that there's a chance that that might happen, is an insurance policy.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
It's taking that little bit of time and energy now to insure yourself or future-proof yourself, I think is probably a really great phrase to use in relation to this.
Car insurance doesn't stop the road accident happening.
No.
But if you have the right car insurance, you'll get your car repaired quicker. You'll get a hire car. You'll get, what else will you get? You might get
Legal cover, all sorts.
Yeah, you get all sorts because you've thought about, well, I'm not going to be the cause of the accident. You have to bear in mind that you might not be the cause of the problem, but the problem might be thrown at you, and you've got to be prepared to deal with it, and deal with it in the most constructive, positive way that you can, rather than allowing it to destroy you.
Definitely.
What you're talking about is you're advocating for education
Yes.
of people and understanding the steps, the actions, the things that you can do to make life easier for yourself, regardless of whether you are the person needing care or the person providing care. You can make life easier for yourself by educating, finding out, discovering what you need to be involved in or might need to be involved in, so that you can make that experience much more positive for you and the person that you are caring for.
Definitely. And there's a couple of other elements as well to our lives, if you don't mind me mentioning them. And
yes, please. Yes.
one of those is we have built up a network of experts. So we have social workers, we have an extreme cleaning expert, we have a funeral director who's wonderful, and he will talk people through, because people don't know what happens when somebody dies. Who do I call? What happens next? Things that, as a nation, we're not great at talking about death culturally.
No.
And it's something we all shy away from. So we have our own funeral director who will answer those questions very sensitively and very openly. And it gives people opportunities at our live Q&A sessions to ask those questions that perhaps you wouldn't ordinarily, sit down over a cup of tea and speak to your friends about.
Yes.
But the other thing that we were really keen on doing when we set this up was the Ask Us function. I love the internet, and I love the way that we have all this information at our fingertips in a way that we've never have done before. But with that also comes the very problematic...
There's too much information sometimes, isn't there?
There is too much. Absolutely. And people end up going down rabbit holes, and they end up with really either information overload or poor quality information.
Yep.
And we again see this coming through our advice services. Well, Google told me, or ChatGPT told me now is the latest one. And you think, but actually, no, because there are so many different factors involved in that.
Yes.
So we have a really simple Ask Us function. Come to us, ask us a question, and we will source the answer from either one of our life advisors, or we will go out to the networks to get you a proper answer. Not opinion, but fact. That's what we will provide you with. Because everybody's got, their uncle, they told me that this is what happened. And actually, it can be a really dangerous game of giving people poor quality information,
Yes.
which is something we're really, really passionate about.
Yeah. All that someone without the education can give you is an opinion
Yes.
or what happened to them. That does not mean to say that just because it happened to someone else, you are going to experience something in exactly the same way.
Exactly. It's context is really important. Yeah. And a lot of the times when we're talking to friends or family, the context and the detail and the nuance is missed out of those conversations. Yeah. It's not a blanket one size fits all for everybody. And the other element of it is organising your current life. Now, you as a HR professional and overseeing teams, you're out and about at work and you've lost your car documents, you've done this, you've done that, you've lost a piece of paper and you need to go and find it. And it's time consuming and it's stress inducing. So what we have the ability in our lives, we've got the online platform where we go through all of your life documents and you upload them onto the secure portal. Now, if you're on holiday, you're sitting at your desk at work, you can access those documents from anywhere, from your mobile phone. And I have to speak from personal experience here. As being the queen of trying to get other people organised, I actually lost the V5 to my car last year.
Ooh.
Which the V5 documents got promptly added to our lives. So I'll never lose one again.
Right.
And it's little things like that cost us, again, time, money in lost and replacement documents, and emotional energy. And this is what we're all about, is trying to reduce all of these little risks and some of the quite large risks. And they sort of cumulatively really add unnecessary stress onto our lives.
Very much so. I think for me, the information that you've given me is like being eye-opening and given me a little bit of a to-do list. You know, Vicky, it's been very interesting. I really do thank you for your time. And of course, the Our Lives app is available on the website.
It's a native app. Yep. So you go onto the website and download that. And the life audit is on the website as well. And that's free to take. And we send you a personalised report. So it's very personalised to you and your own individual circumstances.
It's brilliant. Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's been brilliant. I am Michael Millward, the Managing Director of Abeceda, and in this episode of Fit for My Age, I have been having a conversation with Vicky Jones, who is the founder of Our Lives app and host of the Our Lives podcast. You can find out more information about both of us by using the links in the description. Talking about preparing for the future, one of our aims at Fit for My Age is proactive, positive aging. And we firmly believe that knowing the risks early is an important part of maintaining good health. That is why we recommend the health assessments available from York Test, especially their annual health test. Performed annually by an experienced phlebotomist who will complete a full blood draw at your home or workplace, the annual health test provides an assessment of 39 different health markers, including cholesterol levels, the risk of diabetes, vitamin levels, organ functions. The list is comprehensive. After hospital standard tests are carried out in a UK AS accredited and CQC compliant laboratory, you will be able to access your easy to understand results and guidance to help you make effective lifestyle changes anytime via your secure personal wellness hub account. There is, as you would expect, a link and a discount code in the description. I am sure you will have enjoyed listening to this episode of Fit for My Age as much as Vicky and I have enjoyed making it. So please give it a like and download it so you can listen anytime, anywhere. To make sure you don't miss out on future episodes, please subscribe. You will probably also want to tell your friends, family and work colleagues about this episode of Fit for My Age as well. Remember, the aim of all the podcasts produced by Abeceda is not to tell you what to think, but we do hope to have made you think. Until the next episode of Fit for My Age, thank you for listening and goodbye.